Hey, what's up, people? How you guys doing? Welcome to another episode of Jaxon versus Jaxon. I'm your guy, Erik T. Jaxon, and as you can see scrolling down the screen, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it very much. Today's going to be very interesting. It'll be my first four-round mock draft. Yep, that's right, people. I'm selecting the players that I think the Texans will select with the second, 12th, 33rd, 65th, 73rd, and 104th picks. So stay tuned for that. We've got a few, some news to cover before that, so stay tuned. Uh, let's get started. First thing wanted to touch on right quick is the Houston Rockets, man, and it doesn't look like Steven Silas will be around very much longer. So, from what I've heard, uh, Steven Silas is a dead man walking. Which we could have sort of anticipated. Uh, and if you're a fan like I am, you sort of expected 3 years. And so I figured the Rockets hired him because of the rebuild, right? But I guess they wanted to see at least getting better marginally, and we really haven't. We barely won 20 games this year, and before that, we were less than that 2 years in a row. So uh, as exciting as the NBA draft is, with us having high draft picks and Victor Wembanyama being available, you know, they had to let him go. You know, I'm sure he'll land on his feet because he's a very good coach, quality man. Uh, but I expect him to be gone as early as Monday. The Rockets' final game is tomorrow. Against the Washington Wizards. So now let's move on to the Astros, man. So let's talk about this. The Astros have a slow start, and I think this is slower than it has been the last 5 or 6 years. But they've generally had a slow start. Uh, they are 3-6, so we're less than 10 games in. But let me ask you this: should we be worried? I am. Should I be? Probably not. But am I? Yes, because we've still got the lineup. To me, doesn't look like a championship lineup. Just looking at it, uh, Altuve is on the shelf. Lance McCullers is on the shelf. There is no big name pitcher like Justin Verlander that you can lean on. And as well as Jordan's bat is, and Kyle Tucker's bat is in the clutch, nobody else is doing anything. Uh, Jeremy Pena is on my fantasy baseball team, and he's batting below 200 right now. So I am worried. Uh, do I think they'll pick it up? Yes, I do. Do I know? But I don't know when. That's the thing. Like in years past, you knew that uh, May, June, the Astros would pick it up because they just had the pieces there and they had instilled that confidence in you. With these new guys, uh, the confidence for me just isn't there right now. Even the pitchers, Framber had two solid outings his first two times up, and I think he got no decisions for both of them. We can't get any runs across the plate. Uh, uh, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, Urquidy, These guys are young, solid pitchers, but they don't inspire confidence. Or let's say maybe they inspire a little confidence, but they don't put fear into batters. Framber probably does, but the other ones they don't, you know. So right now I find myself waiting on Lance McCullers to come back. You know, and he's on IL right now. So no telling when he'll come back. I hear that he's throwing 90 right now, but he's not even on a mound. He's just playing pitch and catch. But he is throwing 90 miles an hour, and hopefully they can get him moving around and pitching off a mound here pretty soon. But I don't expect him to be back before the beginning of June. I really don't. So we shall see. We shall see. Now, let me talk about. So before I get into the mock draft, so what I like to do, like we have first round picks, really is what I'm focused on right now, number 2 and number 12. And so I went back the last 10 drafts to see who was drafted number 2. And I went back the last 10 to see who was drafted number 12. And for me, I just do that because I don't really care who's drafted. I just want to see like who did people hit on that are dominant at those positions. I'm talking about Hall of Fame dominant. I'm not even talking about all pro, but I guess multiple all pros will put you on a Hall of Fame track, but I'm not talking about Pro Bowl or just a solid player. I'm talking about HOF dominant. So, with that being said, we're going to look at the last 10 picks for the number 2 pick overall. Let me remove this Astro banner. And I'll just call them out. And we'll go from there. And then we'll talk about which one might be Hall of Fame or not. It ain't going to be many. I can tell you that. So it's going to go pretty quick. So the last 10 number 2 picks. 2013, Luke Jokel. Very solid player. Offensive tackle at A&M. Came into the league. Number 2 pick. If you remember, Eric Fisher, another offensive tackle, was drafted number 1 that year by Kansas City. And I thought they should have got Jokel. But he got hurt, and his pro career didn't pan out. 2014, Greg Robinson, another offensive tackle. He's in legal trouble right now and out of the league. 2015, Marcus Mariota, quarterback. Would he be average? Could we even say Marcus Mariota has been an average quarterback? Possibly. 2016, Carson Wentz. Started off great. Was in the hunt to win league MVP the year in which he got hurt, right? The first time he got hurt. And it's sort of been downhill from there, So Carson Wentz, he was a pretty decent player until he got hurt. Mitch Trubisky, probably a dud. We probably consider him a dud. 2018, Saquon Barkley. Now, he's interesting, because running backs, their value is low or they're devalued nowadays, so people don't usually pick them that high. But he was drafted number 2, and he's been hurt. But when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the league. He's not on the Hall of Fame track right now because he's been hurt so much. But if he can stay healthy from here on for the next 10 years and perform like he has been when he's been healthy, I can definitely see Saquon Barkley being a Hall of Fame candidate when it's all said and done. But the health part is the big issue, and he's got to stay healthy. 2019, this is probably the one that's the closest, and he's only been in the league 3-4 years. Nick Bosa, drafted number 2 by San Francisco, just won Defensive Player of the Year. And he's he's a really good player. 2020, Chase Young. Again, these guys are early, but Chase Young has had some pretty solid 3 years in the league. I wouldn't say he's on the Hall of Fame track, but he's been pretty solid. Zach Wilson in 2021, dud. And 2022, Aiden Hutchinson, who had a really good rookie season. Out of the last 10 number 2 picks, the best ones have been edge guys, and the worst ones have been quarterback. Does that bode well for Will Anderson and Tyree Johnson, or Tyree Wilson, and not so well for C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young? Time will tell. But that was the last 10 number 2 picks. All right. Now, let me give you this year's, who I think could have pro careers that could put them in the Hall of Fame. And this is just arbitrary. It's just based on what I think and feel about certain players and positions, right? So we're taking the number 2 pick. Those guys that are around that area that would, most likely could be picked number 2. So I'll go with C.J. Stroud at quarterback, because short quarterback going to the Hall of Fame. I love Bryce Young, and if we take him, I really hope he can get to that level. But I mean, Drew Brees is probably the only short one that probably has a chance. Kyler Murray doesn't. Vic doesn't. There's nobody else. So that right there, to me, eliminates Bryce Young from being Hall of Fame eligible. Is his height and size. So I'm just going to go with C.J. Stroud, just because I'm going to put a quarterback in there, and he's got the size, the build. If he can, put things together, there you go. Will Anderson, the edge from Alabama. Again, edges have panned out the best in the last 10 years at number 2. And I have also Tyree Wilson, who, depending on who you like, Tyree or Will Anderson. You want a 3-4 outside linebacker, take Will Anderson. You want a 4-3 defensive end at number 2, take Tyree. Just because he's predicted to go, anywhere from 5 to 10, take him at number 2 if you want that guy in your defense. Because he went to A&M first, and I'm a huge A&M fan, as most of you know. So when he went into the portal after his first year, I believe, it hurt me because I heard so many good things about him, but he didn't play that much at A&M. We had a couple of studs in front of him, so that was probably why. But, his high school career was really solid. He shined at Texas Tech. He put it all together. He could be a Hall of Famer, right? All right. Now let's look at the last 10 number 12 picks. And then we'll go and see how many of those guys are Hall of Famers or Hall of Fame worthy. It might be. Let's see if the quarterbacks and the edges, if that translates to the last 10 number 12 picks as well. 2013, DJ Hayden, cornerback. Nope. 2014, OBJ. Again, injuries got him, man. Odell Beckham Jr., he's a really good receiver, and everybody acknowledges that. And he has good numbers as well when he's healthy, but he gets injured quite a bit. But he's there. He won a Super Bowl, and he would have been the Super Bowl MVP had he not got what? Hurt. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to always have to weigh that when talking about OBJ. But he'll probably be in the discussion when it's all said and done. 2015, Danny Shelton. Nope. 2016, Sheldon Rankins. Went to the Jets and they messed him up. 2017, here's an interesting one. What do you think about this guy? 2017, with the number 2 pick, the Houston Texans. No, with the number 12 pick, my bad. The Houston Texans select Deshaun Watson. Moved up to get him. Deshaun, I feel like right now he's not, of course, because 2 years out of football and all that. But before that, I would say he was on that track, even though the Houston Texans weren't that good. Now, he's got to sort of reboot, recalibrate his career. So if he has another 10-year run with Cleveland and does some good things with them, and their offense is centered around him and his passing attack, and I can definitely see him being in that discussion, in that conversation. But if he wins anything in Cleveland, if he can get them to a Super Bowl, much less win one, they'll build a statue of the boy. So Deshaun Watson, there you have it. That's a quarterback for you. 2018, Vita Vea, the big nose. Nope. 2019, Rashawn Gary, another DT, defensive end type. Nope. 2020, the Raiders select Henry Ruggs, and he promptly drinks and drives and runs somebody over, and his career is over, and hopefully he can, rebound from that at some point. But not at all. 2021. Now this is one that, and again, it's a young career. 2021. So what? 2 years in the league. 21, 22. Micah Parsons. What do you guys think about him? Leave a comment about this stuff. Let me know what you guys think so we can have a little back and forth about it. But Micah Parsons, I would say at this point, 2 years in, yeah, you got to say he's one of the best in the league. So he's on that Hall of Fame, that HOF track. I think 2 all-pro seasons. I'm not sure he's won Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think he's done that, but he's been in that conversation. And I think he's been all-pro both years. So definitely Michael Parsons is in that conversation. So with the number 12 picks from the last 10 years, you have OBJ, a receiver, Deshaun Watson, a quarterback, and you have Michael Parsons, an edge rusher. All right. So 3 different positions that are potentially on that Hall of Fame track there. And 2022's number 12 pick was Jameson Williams. And he didn't do that much his rookie year. So there you have it. Now, thank you guys for waiting. Thank you guys for, hopefully you enjoyed that, what I just did, because it took a while to put all that together, and I enjoy doing stuff like that. So without further ado, let's attack the Erik T. Jaxon's 2023 4-round mock draft. No, let's go with who I think can be in the Hall of Fame first. Before we get into the mock draft, the 2023 number 12 picks that are possibly Hall of Fame worthy. So I picked Jaxon Smith-Njigba, receiver from Ohio State. Again, I love doing this, guys, so just bear with me. I picked him because he's a receiver and they're just receiver U right now. And I think he'll have all the opportunities to do that. Bijan Robinson from UT, from the University of Texas. He for no other reason than he reminds me of Saquon Barkley. I mean, the boy is bad. And with our pick, we can definitely get Bijan. I mean, he'd be the lightning to Damian Pierce's thunder. Hell, he might take the job from Pierce. But two running backs, two solid running backs, you always need that. So both of them can sustain themselves instead of just having one get all the carries and having a short career. Paris Johnson Jr., Ohio State offensive tackle. And I think any offensive tackles from Ohio State, like they produce like the best offensive tackles in and maybe I'm just saying that because of Orlando Pace, but I love Paris Johnson's game, and he can definitely, he can definitely get in that conversation. I feel like if he gets picked around there, he'll start immediately, and be on that track. And the last one is Osiris Torrance. I think he's from Florida. He's an offensive guard, interior lineman from Florida, and I just love the name, Osiris. That's a Hall of Fame name. So I'm putting him on track to be in the Hall of Fame. Let's go, Osiris. Make me right. So back to my 4-round mock draft. And let's go. Let's do this right here. See if you guys hear the music. And with the number 2 pick of the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama. And this should come as no surprise. Bryce Young is who I think we're targeting, and I think Carolina is targeting C.J. Stroud. So just because I didn't pick Bryce Young to be on a Hall of Fame track doesn't mean he can't and doesn't mean he won't, But if he does, I want to say he'll be the first quarterback under 6 foot in the Hall of Fame. And that's something, that'll be something that'll be tied with the Texans, for a long time, forever. And, hopefully he can do that. Everyone knows how talented this young brother is. And I'm an SEC guy, and I've seen it over and over again. Bryce Young is super talented, and just the interviews show how he studies and how smart he is, how his mind works. I mean, you look at those type of things, and how can we not draft Bryce Young? Now, with the number 12 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Now, this is somebody that can take the top off of defense. I mean, he'll be. They'll use him probably outside, inside, all around. But he's somebody that's super fast, great hands, and he had great numbers at the Ohio State University. I picked him as somebody that's drafted in that range that could possibly be on the Hall of Fame track, and I want to see him do it. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, number 12 pick of the Houston Texans. And with the number 33 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Brian Bresee, defensive tackle, Clemson. Now, you guys say, why didn't we pick an edge at number 33? An edge rusher. We need edge rushers in this defense. Or why didn't we pick an interior lineman? We need interior linemen in this group. Well, frankly, I think getting Brian Bresee at number 33 is a steal because I feel like he's a late first round talent, mid to late first round talent. Now, he's also, again, he's someone I've been following ever since high school, and he's been an interior force everywhere he's been. For Clemson, he didn't have the sack numbers he had in high school, but he was an interior presence that no one could run on him, and he still put up sacks, just not as much as edge rushers put up. But I think Coach Ryans is gonna build this defense inside out, and so I feel like he'll get the best possible interior defensive lineman with that first pick in the second round. And with the number 65 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Steve Avila, offensive guard, TCU. Now, this is the top of the third round, and that's, I feel like the interior offensive line has a lot of depth in this draft. Just like I feel like the edge rusher position has a lot of talent in this draft. So don't think just because we waited to the third round to get an interior offensive lineman that that they won't play that much or that they're not that good. No, I feel like they're really, really good. And Steve Avila, he's played all three in interior lineman positions. I feel like he can play center as well as guard, and I feel like the Texans will cross-train him as such. And wherever they need him is where he'll play, you know. So I know Luke Whipner from Ohio State is still out there, and he'll probably still be on the board at 65. But I feel like Steve Avila is a better prospect, and so I'm going with him. And with the number 73 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select BJ Ojulari, edge, Auburn. And this is our second third round pick. And the Texans could go do either or. They could take an edge at 65 and an interior offensive lineman at 73, because the picks are so close together and there's a lot of depth at both, right? But I'm choosing them in this order. I'm picking Steve Avila first, just so we can grab him because I think there's more depth at edge. And so I'm picking BJ Ojulari here at number 73. I think he's a big guy. I've watched him play. I think he has the requisite size that Ryans wants in his 4-3 defense, and he's strong against the run, what you want, and depending on who else we have, I think with him and Bresee in the middle, I think we can affect the passer pretty well with those two. I think they'll start, and we'll see what happens. But I like BJ Ojulari as a prospect, and I like him in the Texans defense. With the 104th and final pick in my 4-round mock draft, the Houston Texans select Christopher Smith II, safety out of Georgia. Now, just reading about this guy, I love the fact that he attacks the run. He's aggressive. He's smart. He's a little undersized. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. So he's not a 6'4" safety, but he brings the wood. He's had 6 interceptions the last 2 years, so he can play the pass pretty well, and he's a senior. I like that. He's not a, he's played 4 solid years for a really good SEC program. Won 2 national titles. He's a winner. And just reading about how he plays receivers, how he studies the game, I like him at number 104. So, guys, that's my 4-round mock draft. Erik T. Jackson's 4-round mock draft. How many of those guys are Hall of Famers? I love to make that, but you can't tell, but you can sort of say, okay, let me see. Brian Bresee, that's a Hall of Fame name, baby. Ojulari, love it. Smith-Njigba. We have 3 of them right there that could go into the name Hall of Fame. and if they play up to their names, they'll make the Texans really good, really fast, right? So I'll do another mock draft later before the draft. Not sure when, but definitely before the draft. It was fun. Took a little time, right? Because you have to go through a lot of different players and figure out exactly what the Texans' needs are, and just sort of assume what their defense might look like based on Ryan's previous defenses, what their offense will look like, that type of thing. But let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like this episode, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel. This was fun, guys. I am Erik T. Jaxon. The T stands for Texans. Go Texans, baby. Appreciate you guys being here. Until the next mock draft. Peace.